right, guys, welcome back to yet another edition of Native MMA Radio. Here I am with one of my favorite guests of all time, Mr. Alexander the Great Hernandez. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just getting skinny here at the end of the week.
Now, we were going to try to do this one in person, but the UFC's crazy on their quarantine lockdown. Right now, Alex is in his hotel right now just chilling. How you feeling, man?
Good, man. Real good. Like I said, just closing out the week on this weight cut, and that's always a good place to be. Today's nice because it's just kind of like home stretch. That's all
Yeah,
good.
almost there. Just got to weigh in on Friday. I mean, how excited are you to finally showcase your new talents that you've, worked on since joining Factory X?
Yeah, super stoked, man. Whole new, almost a whole new identity in the cage, and but something that just kind of seamlessly evolved and progressed, and I'm excited to show, all the work over the last decade or so, and certainly the changes that Mark's been able to put together for me.
What do you feel like are some of the bigger changes that you've made since joining Mark Montoya and Factory X?
Efficiency. Yeah, I would say efficiency above all. The ability to blend and be efficient, for sure.
Now, this is your very first fight in the Apex Center, correct? You've never fought there before.
Yeah, I've never been over there before.
How excited are you? It's kind of a smaller venue. It's a little more quaint.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty indifferent about it. At first, honestly, the idea of it made me kind of uncomfortable because I like the more open, the stadium kind of feel, the arena. And so like at the first turn of the idea of it, because even when I was in Jacksonville, we were just in an empty arena.
A huge arena still.
Yeah. And so I was kind of like, oh man, it's kind of a weird vibe. But I've kind of walked through it enough times and pictured it, and I'm indifferent.
You've had the opportunity to coach some of your teammates there as well.
Yeah, well, we were actually in Abu Dhabi on that. So, but same kind of intimacy where it was it was a small dome. Much like probably the Apex. You're not like in this big arena. So yeah, having that experience, going through a full fight week with the team. Prior to my own and being able to that was a big deal for sure. Definitely took a bit of an edge off of this week, I'd say.
Now, you mentioned it a couple seconds ago. You were just in Abu Dhabi for Fight Island, man. How was that whole experience?
Dude, that was a lot of fun, man. That was badass. I mean, we had a killer run while we were out there, and just getting real close with the guys and coach and everything. Yeah, super awesome experience. Even not fighting out there, just being able to be a part of the history there was a really cool thing. And man, when I got back, I turned a huge corner. Just getting all this one-on-one focus with Mark every day, and just kind of catching, really falling into my stride that I've been trying to develop for so long.
Now, you and I have talked before, right before the last time you went over to the Middle East, and you're like, dude, I'm never making that flight again. Here we are a couple months later, you make the flight again. How was the flight this time?
This was a better flight, honestly. Yeah, it was a way better flight. We had, there wasn't a time where you didn't have abundant space on the flight, which is cool. The food was way better this flight for sure than the other ones, and they were straight through shots. I mean, out of Vegas, but the other one, we stopped in a couple countries on the way, and the flight attendants weren't nearly as polite all the time. So this was I remember getting thunked on the head one time when I fell asleep by this one in the Ethiopian Airlines, and I was like, it took me like 4 hours to fall asleep. Finally fell asleep and just thumped me.
They don't even realize who they just thumped either.
That's the Ethiopia airline, no fucks given kind of policy there. But yeah, man, this was a cool flight.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It's literally like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, who knows how much longer we're gonna have Fight Island around?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's something that will carry over much in the next year, if at all. So,
yeah, especially when you get more fans in there.
Yeah.
They have a new arena, right? They're popping up over there.
They're working on something out there, like an arena. It's so crazy out there. Like, it's like they just kind of build things and then knock out some old shit and just put some new shit in, and nobody's ever using it. It's just literally there for that one-time event. It's different for sure out there.
That's like the definition of fuck you money.
Yeah. I mean that's definitely what.
For you, man, you got Chris coming up here on Saturday night. How was this whole matchup brought about?
It just happened. We were in Abu Dhabi. They were talking about putting me on the Habib Gaethje card, but we were like, man, there's no way I'm gonna stay out here 5 weeks and then fight. That would just be
Right.
yeah,
Brutal.
yeah. There's just no way living that nocturnal kind of schedule. And so we were trying to get on the Halloween card, just to kind of follow afterwards, and also I have another teammate, Dustin Jacoby, on this card, so it would have worked out real well having us both on it. And so we were just talking with Shelby, and we were able to negotiate a new contract, get find the opponent and Chris, and make it happen. So
you also just signed a new UFC contract as well.
Yeah, dude, super stoked about that also.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Definitely well deserved.
Yeah, finally making some coins. So that's cool.
Now, Chris, he spent time on The Ultimate Fighter. He's been in the UFC for a while. He's 34 years old. I mean, you're the young guy coming in here. How do you expect this fight to play out?
I expect me to kind of bring it to him and blow my load. And I think that's what he kind of thrives on, is just being like that durable, persistent guy that will weather the storm and then kind of press on in the later, the second and third rounds. And that's what I'm saying. I've just kind of found that efficiency in my game now and the way that I'm moving that I'm not concerned with that at all. And I think I'm just going to
3 rounds of carnage.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to destroy him in the long range. If he crashes to the mid range, I'll take him to the short range of the takedown. I just don't see anywhere I'm not just going to be, just destroying him.
In a Factory X, you have like an abundance of training partners. Were there anybody that that you really worked with a lot that kind of emulated Chris?
Yeah, I definitely got like a good selection of dudes all over. One guy who did a great job of imitating Chris there at the end, especially, was Colin. He just got Colin Angler. He just got signed to the UFC. He just won the Contender Series a couple weeks ago, 45.
Yes, I remember the fight.
But we the killers, like even guys like coming up. Like I was working with I got a homie, Jacoby. He's a 155er who's from Colorado Springs Wrestling, Run Up Wrestling. Markel Medeiros, who's a 55er who's a great striker. I had Yusuf, Jonathan Martinez, Austin Jones, who's a 170er, who's also on the brink of coming in. Colin Angler, who's a 45er, who's coming in. So I had like a mix of bodies that I would use with some different styles, and then a few of those guys would kind of crash and be really aggressive, like like kind of crashing into that dirty boxing range that Chris likes to get into. And then others would just give me completely off the wall looks. But I had like a handful of guys that were all either in the UFC or UFC caliber and at least a discipline that they were pushing on me. And so just defeating each of those mix of styles and just really being adaptive and having the clarity to adjust on the go was a big deal. So that's what I think is going to win the fight more than like any kind of anticipation or planning for Chris. It's just making sure that I'm right, clear-headed, and I'm firing. Everything's on point, so that way, whatever he decides to deliver, I've got an answer for it.
Yeah. Your first fight with Mark in your corner, I feel like you two just combined it. It's really going to gel well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we've been gelling, dog. We've been gelling like the 90s, and I feel real good. We've been getting along, and just the cohesion between those schools, the Hana and Factory X has been cool too. So it's been really good, man. It's a really positive, connection.
In Ohana, obviously, your gym in San Antonio, how is that going?
It's good, man. Just kind of, it's always like a little bit of a roller coaster with the COVID bullshit and everything else. So we were doing really good, and year over year we're like really up, but we're ambitious, and so we're still shy where we want to be, and what we want to get done. But I'm thinking rolling into next year will be real good. But yeah, shout out to Ohana Academy Northeast back home.
Yeah, we were like sitting in jiu-jitsu the other day. They're like, hey, where can we go and travel to? I was like, dude, we can go to Ohana in San Antonio for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get it all set up. We'll head out there. We can have a good time. We're trying to find a destination right now. We can go jits and like gel as a team.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll be in over that Thanksgiving week and then probably again in December. So I don't know if you're making any moves during the holidays, but let me know, dude, for sure. Come
Definitely
through.
will do.
I'll be running some like seminars and clinics and shit. So be a good time.
Excellent, man. Well, yeah, like I said, I have my competition December 12th. Trying to get down for that. Super excited.
Nice, dude. Yeah, yeah, real exciting. First tournament. That'll be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
My son did the same tournament last year, and he was like, "Dad, you got to do it next year." I was like, "All right, I'll do it." So I was supposed to do it in June, and they canceled that one. So now it's been pushed back a minute, but I'm excited.
It'll be good. You got to shake off all the shit from this year and get that blood boiling again. You know, get that competition, competitive
Exactly.
belly, and that'll help spark off next year right for you too. So I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now, Khabib Nurmagomedov, man, had an amazing performance last weekend against Justin Gaethje. Puts his gloves down, walks away from the sport, the title, the division. It's wide open now, man. You could literally, with a win or two, be right in the thick of things.
Yeah, that's what's so sick, man. And probably a few because I'm really trying to build myself up to get back in there. You know what I mean? Like in that top 10 mix again. I really want to do it right. You know,
Hmm.
I think it starts with this fight. But yeah, it's an exciting time for the division. Beeb's gone. Who knows if he'll stay gone or not? But the next top five guys are all really solid candidates and guys that we've seen a lot from already, and that I don't think don't have the capacity to grow and evolve like I still do. And so
Yeah.
I am about it. Even if Habib was still here, I'd still be really excited about it, especially after that last fight. Just the challenge of him and everything. And I think that he exploited something in a lot of these guys, and that's like the lack of jiu-jitsu that they all.
Yes.
I think Nate Diaz made a comment about that. Like not being impressed. I'm
A
seeing through
bunch
it
of
all.
white belts.
Yeah, seeing through it all, and I kind of feel the same. Where I'm like, I mean, and undoubtedly it's difficult to take them to that spot. You're not just going to put Gaethje on his back or Poirier on his back or anything else. That's not easy to do. But I think with a composed blend, you can, and just like leaps and bounds behind that these guys are off their backs or on the ground,
Yes.
pounding. So, yeah, I mean, I think that they all have much bigger holes technically than I have. I just, for me, it was always getting my head right to perform. And that was something that, a lot of these savages had, like Gaethje and Ferguson and Khabib, Connor. I mean, really all the guys at the top. And so, if I could solidify that and let that translate into my performance here starting on Saturday, I'm pretty excited about cracking in that top 10 again.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people might not realize you're 28. Like, you're barely stepping into your athletic prime.
Yeah. I feel good about that, man. I really do. And I was just talking to my coach about it yesterday, Yarrington. We were reading this book on breath by James Nestor. It's a good one. I've been wearing these nasal strips at night and taping my mouth shut while I sleep. So I'm just breathing in through my nose.
No
But
shit.
it's, yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm like always developing like these new practices to be just a more optimal, specimen, just version of myself. And, and like, it's such a wild idea to think that like, after 20 some odd years, even 30 years, it's like just a decline after that. If we're looking at like a 100-year spectrum or something, like it's
Yeah,
just
for
wild.
sure.
I'm gonna break 30 and then just everything's downhill from there or something. I think like I can easily see how 30s would be like the entire decade would be like my best decade to
Yeah.
that point, handedly. And because you're learning so much, you're developing so much, and you're doing so much stupid shit in your 20s, and then 30s you start to kind of lock it in, and your health measures are correct. I'm I mean, obviously now, but I couldn't imagine, slowing down in the next 4 or 5 years, and also seeing the talents. We were just with Silva at the PI, and that's a guy who, that was his best decade,
For
like
sure.
32 to 4. So yeah, that's always, it's exciting to think about, the prospect of just maturing.
So the main event this weekend, like you said, Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall. This is Anderson's last fight. What does it mean to you to be on a card with, such a great and a legend like that?
Yeah, it's epic, dude. I mean, I'm really really thrilled about it, because I always strive to be on the biggest, baddest cards, and definitely ones of high, notoriety. And I wasn't sure what this card was going to hold. And then whenever I found out it was Silva's retirement card, I was like, oh shit, I've never been on a card with some bad motherfuckers, like
Yes.
it was really cool to be like shoulder to shoulder with Aldo, on a card. And that was a big deal because he was one of my first legends that I looked to. And now being with Silva, and, all my cards have been pretty epic. I think maybe the San Antonio one was maybe the least high.
But it was home.
Kind of starred athlete, but it was home though, and it was in the dome. And so I really had a card that.
Come on now, you were walking into San Antonio with that Spurs jersey on.
Yeah, I mean, no, that was a super. I mean, that was one of the best ones ever. I just haven't really had one that's been underwhelming, so I've been really grateful for that. And this Silva one's epic. It was so cool. I have this video I'll share later of I'm running on the treadmills and he's there in the cage, working and everything, getting ready for the fight. It's just cool. It's definitely journey's always so crazy, and it's good to like kind of stop and think like, oh, this is a cool last moment.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's almost surreal sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really easy to kind of just keep going, but it's good to stop and
enjoy the moments.
Yeah, sip the coffee slow and enjoy it. Yeah.
So you said you were in Fight Island, but obviously you went back to Colorado for a second. Have you been able to enjoy your first snow day yet? I imagine you didn't get a whole lot of those in San Antonio.
Oh yeah, did you see that river video? Me jumping in the
Did you jump in the river while it was freezing?
Yeah, it was like 14 degrees out.
Fuck that, bro.
I did. I had to let them know we're not the same, and I also had to christen that first day correctly, of a new snow day. And that's I definitely took advantage of it. I don't know if I'll be doing that shit too often. that was some pretty extreme shit, but yeah, man, I'll tell you what's sketchy as hell is just driving on those streets when it's all slush and ice. That was my first time doing that. I've never
Every bridge has black ice on it.
Yeah, I'm not doing bridges. I've never, I've driven while there's been snow coming down, but I've never wake up and now we're driving on snowy streets and you got some snow later. That was my first time doing that. So, a bit of a trip, little nerve rattling for sure.
I spent 1 year in Colorado, and I'm from the desert in California, so I'm not used to snow at all. That winter, I'll never go back to Colorado during the winter. Forget that.
No shit. Damn.
Son. Moving there, we got stuck into a snowstorm, pulling a trailer behind me. It was horrible.
Oh, that's terrible timing, dude. Yeah.
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 And it's so bipolar almost. Sometimes we don't know if it's gonna snow or not.
I really like that, man. I'm really looking forward to. I like the extremes and I like extreme temperatures, and so that's kind of like my Russian 3 months. You know what I mean? I really want that shit. I want that harsh ass climate, and then when it gets hot, you get up in the altitude and it's ooh,
nice.
Yeah, cooking and it's hard to breathe. So you can definitely test the elements in Colorado, and that's what I really enjoy. I don't want those motherfuckers on the other side of the world getting hotter than me because they get a little bit more snow than we do. So It's good to, it's good to have that. It's good to have that.
Definitely. Driving in the snow. We got used to it. Still hate it. I hated it.
Yeah. I'll report back by the end of the year for sure.
What's next for you after Chris? I know you don't want to look past Chris, but
2021,
would you like to get 3-4 fights in?
Yeah, and maybe even one more on this year, depending on how it goes. But yeah, 2021's gonna be super active. That's the thing about Factory X too. Other guys are real active, and for a lot of times it was kind of getting the wet recipe right, and I think that I go in, I display that, and then we just keep kicking that ball. We just roll that fucker downhill. So
definitely, you're the featured prelim on Saturday night. What does that mean to you, man?
It means I'm not on the main card, so I want to.
Yeah, but almost. In my opinion, I feel like being the featured prelim is almost better than being the first or second fight on the fight card, because that way they're going to base the viewings of the prelims off of your fight.
That is a good point. That's the kind of optimism I wanted to hear. So, I do. I don't really mind, honestly. I'm just kind of just line me up, put me in that cage, and let me knock this dude down.
Right.
And so either way, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen because Kevin Holland's opponent fell out with COVID, so I don't know if I'm going to be moving the main card or what. But either way, yeah, I like being the headline, prelim, which is actually, you're right. That's kind of cool. You got Silva as the headline on the almost like a co-headline.
Exactly. You were the other headline to Anderson Silva.
Other headline, yeah, the other headline. That's right.
Yeah. Well, man, I know you're super busy. I don't want to take a whole much more of your time today. I know it's fight week and everything for you, but I want to give you an opportunity before I let you go to give you a shout out to your teammates, sponsors, loved ones, anyone that's really helped you along your MMA journey.
Yeah, man. Ohana Academy Northeast, gym back home. Check that out. Of course, shout out to Ohana, Jason Yarrington, Johnny O'Rourke, Jason Kilgore, and through that, Andre Miller over at in Oregon. That's that farmer you be seeing me pop up with sometimes. Factory X, of course, Mark Montoya at the top, and all those great guys who've been helping me, Professor Busy, Coach G, and Scotty. And then all the teammates out there, I listed them earlier, and yeah, thanks for tuning in, man.
Oh, of course, brother. I can't wait. Here we go. Saturday night, man. The featured prelim going to be taking out Chris. What's your prediction for the fight? How's it going to end?
It's so hard to say if I'm gonna put him away on the feet or if he's just gonna like crash into a takedown and then I'll put him away on the ground. But I do think he'll be put away in the first two. I don't know how it's gonna go down, but I'm really excited about it, man. I really am. I just think I'm just gonna go out there and put on a display and inevitably destroy him. So I'm pretty stoked.
Can't wait, man. He's no matter what getting that hand raised on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alexander the Great Hernandez.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.